You can say the son of nobles. You can have multiple nobles, and you can say sons of nobles. That will still encompass women. Another example I'm going to like to use. The Bible says that God created man. Or also the sons of men. Does that mean that there's no women as a result of it, because it says sons of men or the likeness man was created in the likeness of God? Does that mean that women were not created in the likeness of God? Because it doesn't say this specifically. So the point I am getting at is that you guys are losing your mind about something that is irrelevant. And when I hear conservatives complaining about wokeism, it's essentially, I don't like change, my feelings get hurt, and I don't know what wokeism is, because it changes depending on who you talk to. Like a person with a wokeism about female empowerment, critical race theory, that's wokeism. Another person will say, oh, wokeism is being a communist, is being woke. Like, it literally depends on who you talk to. And some people don't even know what they mean by wokeism. There's multiple videos of when people ask, what do you mean by wokeism? And the person can't even bring a definition of what it is. But the bottom line, it is one of those little trigger word that conservatives love to use as a way to dismiss changes. And of course, like if there were the conservatives were against civil rights movement, they also when gays were trying to not be discriminated against, they lost their mind over the gays and all those things. They will say that gays are ruining the community. The exact same arguments, that they're losing. You know one thing I want to point out about the whole 40K thing. We could actually have legit trans space marine, and it's not going to break the law whatsoever. And this is one thing I've not seen anyone discuss about it, but I definitely have a good law reason that it's not going to ruin the law. Why? Well, for those who doesn't know, there's something called the Chaos Gods. You have Slanesh. One god is Slanesh, Prince of Pleasure, sex, drugs, whatever. Anything that is about pleasure, he owns it. Then you have the Blood God, who are all about fighting in melee. That is Korn. Then you have Nurgle, the Chaos God of plague and diseases. And then you have Zeech, the Chaos Gods of change, knowledge, that kind of things. You know what we can do? We're going to use Slanesh to have and the Emperor Children is the space marine that worships Slanesh. And we can use a faction of Emperor Children to say, yeah, I decided to be a woman and do some disagree with their body, blah 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 blah. Do the whole trans change, and now you have a trans woman, space marine. Because and how does it break? Because we already know that Emperor Children already modified their bodies. Modify the body towards a more woman shape. It's not something that will be far fetched from them. That all fits right into the lore. So, I am almost, so the next thing I want to discuss is, of course, the whole system about the Kawhi brought up the sister silences about all that, and female space marine. A lot of the arguments. Anyways, I forgot what I was saying about Major Kill. Major Kill, he was talking about how lore-wise is ambiguous, and also the reason that there's not many female space marine. It is because of yes, you can modify a woman to molecularly level to her custodies, but not many women will have the same kind of behavior that a custodian will have. It's more like a manly task. I can agree with that, and I can agree with it. Says like if there's like very few in the lore, that will make sense. And I agree with that. It's like if is that is completely fine. One thing that he talks about that I flat out disagree is that when you modify women, a genetic modifier, he's going to make it more like muscular, blah 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 blah. He's going to talk. He keeps saying that they're going to look like more men, and their breasts will be gone, blah 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 blah. It's like I'm like, I feel if you actually look at female bodybuilders, actually look how they look like. Yes, it is true that that as a woman get more muscular, their breasts do reduce in size. That is true. However, does all a women's athlete lose all female bodybuilder lose their breasts? No. They still have they're still look like there's some of them they're still bigger than others. They're the same thing that you normally see. You still see different size of breasts. Some are bigger than others. So I don't understand why Major Kill keeps making this argument. And nor do I understand why he keeps saying that he's going to look like more masculine when we literally see female bodybuilders that a lot of them they still look like they're still woman shape. So in that part, I disagree with him. I just it was something I needed to say out loud. It was driving me nuts. And he made this argument before. So yes, and in regard to our female space marine, and I do agree with his argument that lore-wise it's always been stated that there were always men. It's not ambiguous, it is really flat out stated. And also all the writers keep saying they were all male. On top of that, we also have multiple evidence where the writers wanting to bring female custodies into the gameplay, but it was the executive who vetoed it. But they kept working a way to get into it. So here we have a situation that is perfect. how you have the worker wanting to bring a lore into the game, but you have a parasite keep telling the worker, don't do it, we're removing the control. Because the executive didn't like the idea. And whenever the executive left, the writer, cool, we're all in. That just demonstrated again how workers don't have freedom. Conservatives love talking about freedom. But somehow, they don't like to talk about how workers are enslaved to the capitalists, because when they work for the parasite, they don't actually have freedom, because their decisions are always being controlled by the parasite. They might have better ideas, but the parasite have the power to veto what they want to do, which a lot of times creates a lot of problems, which also leads to a lot of there's a lot of contradiction that happens in companies like GW. And also it leads to other problems like Elon Musk, where being the big boss, he refuses to take responsibility for the mess that he creates, but he will fire employees to keep his profit going. But somehow we think that these guys are gods. That is one big issue. Now, going back about the system of battles. So yes, I can say about yes, and so yes, that's a lot of an issue about capitalism, how they limit the creative freedom of what the writers can and cannot do. But in regard to the specific context of Space Marine, all the writers, all the lore was very well established, and I agree that unless you reveal what is called Uno Lost Primarchs, there's like Primarchs thinks about they're the fathers of the Space Marines. That's how the Space Marines get all the genetic makeup to create the Space Marines. And the Primarchs are basically demigods. And they're the sons of the Emperor. Extremely powerful beings. It is lore stated that there are two Primarchs that are being redacted, and we don't know who they are or anything like that. So, and it's also said that whenever a Space Marine get the gene seed, basically the body modification from their Primarchs, they turn like their father. And sometimes, like the Blood Angels, they literally become physically looking like him. It does make sense to say that unless you have a female Primarch, then it's not going to make sense to have a female Space Marine. Now, one issue about the lore that everyone forgets, and this is going back to about the whole debacle about Abaddon winning its war. Wes Hammer did an entire video on this topic where the lore has been scattered through countless books, articles. Some of them are completely obscure, some of them dates back 20 years ago, 30 years ago. So people will not understand That's sometimes GW actually follow their lore, but it's been scattered way too much to really get all the information, and that is a big issue. That's another example of problem of capitalism, a critique for this kind of things, because GW primarily motive is to make more model, to make money. They will scatter their lore for people to buy more stuff, and as a result, people can easily miss things that otherwise would not be possible. It is virtually impossible to know everything, because there's like over 60 books just about the horse heresy. There's a big event in the lore. There's a series of books, and there's like 60 books. But of course, you have to buy those books. And not all of them are available for free to read. See the problem? We can easily miss, especially they're really well known to do this. They will pick some obscure text that no one really paying attention. But they pick it and then make it actually accurate. Sometimes they make it develop some plot point that they will never revisit it ever again. That is how things are happening. Oh yeah, another point I want to say. A lot of people lost their mind how crap the book of Wolf Time, the book Wolf Time was. It's like really badly written, really destroy everything you came to know. It's like it was really, really bad. Yet people didn't actually lost interest about GW and wanted to boycott it. That is why this whole thing about how they say that the whole female custodies they're losing their mind over is another example of the hypocrisy of these people. And the conservative hypocrisy is that's basically the point I'm pointing out of this video. Does that mean that the system of battle lose the significance? No, there still is. There's some people it makes it we should have brothers of battle. Okay, sure we can have that. I'm not going to oppose it. Lore-wise, yeah, we can find some religious zealot to create an organization that will be equivalent to the civil battle, and it will be just as crazy as the sisters. I can see that happening. Just have to write it properly. At the same time, what about City of Silence, which is technically a blank can be anyone. So yes, technically we can have somebody who will be like the City of Silence, but you have to be careful on how to implement it. But the point is, losing your mind over this, when there's like maybe like one or two female custodians on record, only demonstrates the fragility of those who says they love Warhammer. It only shows how much they actually hate women. Like I remember talking to my dad, and he hates of course he hates wokeism. He's like a big he's a conservative, and he's a bigot, and he dismissed the whole. He thinks feminism is just women's whining, and they always give it to them, ignoring all the stuff that feminists did to that achieve liberty that they have today. It was not simply just granted to him, according to them. He thinks G.I. Jane was a poor movie because Jane. It was a female empowerment about women joining special forces. I don't want to say the Green Beret or I forget what they're called right now. Doesn't matter. Same thing. But the point is these same people that always talk about freedom, about let the capitalists do whatever they want, let the free market decide. They're the first one to always cry about how to companies that are doing things that they don't like. They say, oh, there's a wokeism, they ruin things, and they're always losing their mind for the most minute little thing. Like my favorite example of how the fragility of conservative thought again is this trans influencer who is on Instagram. Budweiser gave her one ad that conservatives lose their mind over Budweiser going woke because they gave an ad to a trans woman. Wow, you guys are sure are alpha males to losing your mind over something so minuscule. This is why I'm calling them fascists. They don't want change. They're putting laws, and I can guarantee, if conservative gets into power, if it's a big enough issue, they will put laws that will say, nah, we don't want this women representation in movies, that type of thing. We want, how do we know this? DeSantis is trying to do that to Disney. Not because of the horrible treatment of people, because you're having diversity in their films. You have the anti-abortion laws that conservatives are passing left, right, and centers. The anti-LGBTQ laws. Like, there was in Alabama, if I remember correctly, the federal court reinstated an abortion law that was 150 years ago, which forces women to to give birth, even if they're rape. It's like the only circumstance they are allowed to have abortion is if there is a threat. No other time they were allowed to give birth. Then, of course, you have Texas, who has bounty hunters for people who have abortion, and doctors who give those abortion. Don't forget the $10,000 bounty. Oh, and of course, it always leads to a complication, like, well, women miscarriage. Well, they're being forced to miscarry because it's classified as an abortion. But does the conservatives actually care? No. They lose their mind over the pro-life and pro-choice. I think they're pro-life, so therefore they have to put anti-abortion laws. That's what conservatives do. They are hypocrite, and fascists love to put laws to discriminate against others, while crying that government should be out of business. But they always love the mandal when business doesn't go the way they want, like GW right now. That's my whole point. After this entire video that I just made, I want to point out all the critique that people are making towards female custodies is ridiculous. Nothing is going to change. And GW knows where they're going. So this little boycott just only show the your immaturity, and for those it says it ruins the lore. Come on, it really doesn't. There were far more major retcons that no one is bat an eye over. On this note, I'm gonna finish my video. Have a good day.